Hey, good morning and welcome to Life Online. It's Monday morning. Want to give a shout out to Emma Morton. She's one of the students at Life Student Ministries. She raised over $700 for Speed the Light, which is a youth missions project with the Rocky Challenge a weekend ago. So way to go, Emma. Raise the most of all the kids in our youth group. It's pretty amazing. Hey, I want to talk to you about, I want to head into a story into the Old Testament. There's a couple of questions that we raised in Sunday celebration when we looked at the book of Nahum, and we especially put it into the context of a young king by the name of Josiah. And here he is surrounded by not only the pressures of leadership, where there is a real need for a spiritual turnaround in the spiritual history of Judah. They have been very, very far from God. Temple worship has been obliterated. The law has been lost in the back rooms, in the back storage rooms of the temple. And so he's got a lot of work to do, and God's put passion in his heart to return to the Lord, but bring the nation back to God. And there's some huge choices that he has to make. And we ask this question, is it worth it? It's a really important one. Nineveh, the Assyrians, they're on the horizon. They're the empire of the day. So with their wickedness and the press in of wicked culture around them that has so invaded the lives of God's people, is it worth it to try to take a stand? And how long will this last? He's had a wicked father and a wicked grandfather. So is it worth it? Hey, there's a great is it worth it story. In fact, there's a number of them in the book of Hebrews. That's probably what we're going to be looking at this week. But there's this great story from the Old Testament. Her name is Rahab. She emerges on the scene in a real, it's just unusual that she's going to be included in Scripture. So here she is in the city of Jericho. We know that she is... she's a prostitute. We're not exactly for sure how that happens. I think there's maybe a strong possibility with there in Jericho with the temple to Ashtoreth. You will find that young girls, young teenage girls, catch the eye of one of the priests, and they could be handpicked to go ahead and brought into the temple prostitution. That goddess was a goddess of lust and fertility. And that might have been the case with Rahab. We're not exactly for sure. She might have just been a common woman of the night, but the truth is she is included in this marvelous story of God's deliverance, God's power. So I just want to draw a couple of things. If you'd ask Rahab, is it worth it? Here's what ended up happening. Rahab somehow connects with two spies who were sent by Joshua to check out the city of Jericho. And she goes ahead and somehow harbors them within her house, her apartment that's in the walls, thick walls. The exterior wall, I think 6 feet thick, and then there was housing in between, and then kind of an interior wall of the city that would be 12 feet thick. And with that, here she is in the city wall, but she comes and she hides the two spies when word gets out. There are two who have come to check out the city. We need to search them out. And sure enough, they knock at Rahab's door, and Rahab just flat out lies. And she just says, oh, they were here, but they're gone. And she's hidden them up on the roof in flax. And I love her statements of faith. So here she is. She's in vulnerable position because she, as well as the people in Jericho, know that here are these Israelis that are coming through, and they know that God's favor is upon them. They've heard the story of the crossing of the Red Sea. They've heard of a victory that they've already had over a couple of local kings, and they know that God is with them, and so fear is struck in their hearts. And here are some strong statements that Rahab makes. She says, I know the Lord has given you this land. So somehow there is faith inside of her heart that she knows that God is with you, people, and that he's going to give you this city and he's going to give you this entire land. And I know that. There was faith in her heart. In addition to that, she says, for the Lord your God is the supreme God of the heavens above and the earth below. So she just knows There's a God that's with these people that's different than all of these other gods that we have worshipped. And then she speaks to these spies and she says, because I have been of help to you, I need you to swear to me. It's a bold statement. She looks at them and she says, okay, so there's a God who's with you and he's the supreme God and you've got to help me. And she says, be kind to me, to my family, my brothers and sisters, their families. You be kind to us, that when you take this city, you spare our lives and you help us. You be kind to us. And by the way, it's in that expression and it's in that call that sure enough, God hears her cry. And the spies say, oh yeah, we'll take care of you, lady. And as she took care of them, that act of faith, God spared her life. So in the middle of uncertainties, yeah, fear can grip you. It gripped the city. But there was a faith inside of Rahab's heart. She risked her life. She risked her life, but it was a really good bet. And in that faith expression, she was just enfolded by God into the great, great story of redemption. So here comes Rahab. Her life is spared out of the city when Jericho falls, and her and her family are spared. And she marries a guy by the name of Solomon. And she gives birth to a little boy, and they name him Boaz. Boaz marries a woman by the name of Ruth. And Ruth is the great-grandmother of a young man named David, who later becomes king. And in Matthew chapter 1, here's the lady, the prostitute, Rahab. Risked her life. Is it worth it? Absolutely. And she risked her life, but she is included in the grand story of redemption. So Hebrews tells us, by an act of faith, Rahab, the Jericho harlot, welcomed the spies and escaped the destruction that came on those who refused to trust in God. That's Hebrews chapter 11, verse 31. Hey, it's a great, great story. Maybe you're heading through some question of, is it worth it? Is it worth it taking a stand, serving God? Is it worth it having faith in a time and a season when it seems as if our culture presses in and mocks those who really do believe? Stay strong. It's worth it. Hey, God bless. Have an awesome, awesome day.